Okay, this will be lecture two for the lower leg. I have attempted to create a PowerPoint from the new instructor resources that are available, and I am having technical difficulties, and I'm sorry about that. I'm doing my best. So I just don't know how to get into freaking presentation mode, and that's the main problem. But I'm trying to get this recorded before I have to go do my daughter. And no, I cannot present in Teams because it just redirects me to present on the laptop, desktop, which doesn't want to do it either. And I tried to do it. Slide. I'm sorry. You're along for the ride here because slideshow? Yeah, that seems promising from beginning. Yeah, okay. Ha! Ha! Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. How do I no notes? I don't need this thing. I don't need notes. I don't need no stinking notes. Display settings. Yeah, okay, that'll do. All right. So this is going to be a little tour of the muscles that we're focusing on. We're going to start by saying hello to all the extensors together. Right, so in our extensor group, we have got tibialis anterior coming right here. Its friend extensor digitorum longus right there, and extensor hallucis longus. So we know that extensor digitorum longus goes to the toes, and hallucis longus goes to just the big toe. So if we click, and now we're looking at just tibialis anterior. Sorry for rushing ahead. Again, I've got to leave to get my daughter now that I've figured this out. And you don't even want to know. This is like take 3 or 4, you guys. Anyway, so tibialis anterior, here you can see the person's shin. Tibialis anterior is flat to the bone right next to the shin and then crosses over to hook in, I think, at the base of the fifth metatarsal, but you should just, or the first metatarsal, sorry. But you should just look at your book for that. So that's tibialis anterior. And here we have the drawing from your book. Again, this is the lateral side, then it crosses over the front and hooks in at the base of the first metatarsal. And that's our focus muscle for this extensor group. Now we also have extensor digitorum longus, which it provided a picture of. That's the buddy. That one's deep and or lateral posterior to extensor, to tibialis anterior. And you can see it's coming across to the 4 digits of the foot. Extensor hallucis longus starts lower down. It's coming right across the front. It's one of those tendons you can feel at the front of the ankle, coming down to the big toe to put that toe into extension. And here we have that same picture that I had before of all 3 of them together as friends in a group, right? So these are our primary extensors of the foot, and you'll notice there's relatively few of them, and their mass isn't very big, but they are pretty strong. But they do not hold a candle to the flexors. So starting out with the flexors, they're all going to be coming across the back here to pull dorsiflexion. Okay, ignore that, should say plantar flexion. Plantar flexors of the ankle and toes. We'll cover that up. Flexors of the ankles and toes. My mistake there. I made this slide. So you'll see they're all coming along the back. So the first ones are going to be, I'll move this. There we go. The first ones are going to be the fibularis or peroneal group, and we have longus and brevis. So these used to be called the peroneal muscles, and I think your book still primarily calls them the peroneal muscles. But we have got them now, they're going to be called fibularis muscles because they're coming along the fibula on the lateral side. So instead of being named after some Greek guy, they're going to be named the fibularis muscles, but they're the same thing, and I think your book might still primarily call them peroneals. So here they are Longus is up top, coming from the head of the fibula, down behind the lateral malleolus to the base of the fifth metatarsal, the base of your pinky toe metatarsal. And brevis starting lower down here. Longus is cut away, coming down around, same deal, to the fifth metatarsal. These are very ropey. They're on the lateral side, and they are super duper, just grizzly and trigger pointy. And so they're kind of one of our first flexor muscles that we're focusing on. But there are others. We do have, this is a medial view of a lot of our flexors group. You can see there's just a bunch of little ones. The deep one is tibialis posterior, so you can see it really flat to the posterior aspect of the tibia, coming all the way down on the medial side, and it's going to hook into these tarsals and metatarsals. This is one of the muscles that helps lift the arch of people. So if you have a fallen arch, this is one of the muscles that has weakened to allow that. But we have all the friends over here as well. This longer one is this is tibialis posterior. This longer one is flexor digitorum longus. And you can see these muscles on page 381 of your textbook as well. And then we have, flexor digitorum longus. So we know that goes to the toes, right? And then this one over here is flexor hallucis longus. So we know that goes to the big toe. And then with this little itty bitty one poking out right there, that's tibialis posterior. And so you can see it in all its glory here, but it's just peeking out deep to these other two of the flexor group, and specifically tibialis posterior. And now we're going to go into, we're going to go into our soleus and gastroc muscles, which are the primary flexors of the foot. So soleus is the next most superficial. So those deeper flexors on the medial side, that would be deep to soleus / kind of medial anterior. And then soleus is coming along the soleal line of the tibia, coming down to form the calcaneal tendon. And here you can see someone palpating the calcaneal tendon. Soleus is the primary plantar flexor of the calf. So it's going to be most of the strength when you push off your foot while walking, going up on your toes like a ballerina, any of that. Soleus is the primary, it's the agonist, the prime mover. And here you can see that soleal line coming down with that bulk of soleus in the calf. This is soleus standing in an anterior view. So when you are standing, so here's the person's shin, the blade of the shin. Here's tibialis anterior. This is soleus on the medial side. So a lot of that muscle on the medial side of your shin that you're looking at from the front is actually soleus wrapping around. And here you can see it comes down much further in the ankle than people think. Now, some of the meat in here is those other flexors as well. Flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, but a big part of it is soleus. And then right up top, the most superficial we have is gastrocnemius. So this is the two-bellied muscle that gives the calf its shape. You can see here he's standing up on his toes. This is the action of these flexors. They're going to bring the ankle and potentially the toes into plantar flexion. And you can see the two bellies here. Now this particular person, this looks like just a standard drawing. This particular person, his medial lobe of the gastroc, that medial muscle belly is a little rounder. And this, okay. We lost it. I don't know how to go back. But yeah, that's gastrocnemius. It's superficial. It is strong. Soleus is stronger. But gastrocnemius is the superficial muscle of the calf with those two bellies that gives the calf its shape and it's coming down to, again, join that calcaneal tendon, also called the Achilles tendon, due to Greek myth, but properly called the calcaneal tendon. Okay, and now we have some honorable mentions. Plantaris. So the muscle belly of Plantaris is all the way up here and is going to come all the way down near and it also attaches to the plantar area here. So that is one of our bonus muscles. I should have included popliteus. I just realized I don't think I have a slide for that. Popliteus is also at the back of the knee, and popliteus is like the key that unlocks the knee. Which you can read about in your book, but basically it just helps put that first little bend into the knee so that your other knee flexors can take over and have the right angle to continue flexing the knee more strongly. That would be plantaris. This is popliteus. Or that would be, sorry, popliteus. This is plantaris. And there's another picture of plantaris. You can see that big honkin' tendon coming down. Oh, attaching to calcaneus, I guess. Oh, I misspoke before. And here's plantaris again. You can see it's deep to gastrocnemius. You can feel it on the back of the knee or see it on the back of the knee right there. All right. Now, we do have many intrinsic muscles of the foot. We have the interossei, the muscles between the bones. We have flexor digiti minimi. We have extensor and flexor, hallucis brevis. But I just want to show you, before we saw flexor digitorum longus and flexor hallucis longus and extensor hallucis longus and extensor digitorum longus, and all those longus muscles were up in the lower leg, in the foreleg. The brevis muscles are generally down in the foot. So our honorable mention for them is flexor digitorum brevis, because this is the foot cramp muscle. There are many muscles on the bottom of the foot, but in my experience, when you've got someone with that sharp, horrible foot cramp, flexor digitorum brevis or hallucis brevis, which is right next door, are going to be the culprits for that. So those are just itty bitty little muscles that live in the foot. They start and end in the foot. And there we go. And the last structure, our bonus structure before I have to run here, is the plantar aponeurosis, which is the proper term for the plantar fascia. So this is the structure that is affected by plantar fasciitis. Classic presentation of plantar fasciitis is this central part of the aponeurosis coming right off the heel. But actually, and people will say, oh, do you have that heel pain? It's worse in the morning, and then it might get bad again at night, and it's very stiff, and it's right this heel, it's coming off the heel. But in reality, plantar fasciitis can affect any of the fascia in the foot. It can do this lateral strap here. It can do any of this business. It can get into the stuff going towards your toes. It can be in this arch where you've got these crisscrossy fibers with different fiber directions. The entire bottom of the foot can be affected by plantar fasciitis. And where that's going to show up first for people just depends on how they use their foot and where the stress is on their foot. So this was one that I really wanted to bring to your attention. It's not a muscle, it's a structure, but you can see how broad the plantar fascia actually is. So when we're dealing with our clients with plantar fasciitis, yes, we want to stretch the calf. Yes, we want to massage and get in around the heel, but you should be softening and lengthening the whole system of the foot, as well as coming up around the heel and lengthening and softening the calf as well. So that is our quick muscle tour. You can get the action, origin, and insertion from your textbook. Hopefully this PowerPoint, even though it had a messy start, has been helpful to you. And I look forward to seeing your assignments. Thanks, guys.